Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope that everybody has had a great week. I hope you are all looking forward to a fantastic weekend. Welcome to the class. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS task 2 writing essay. And this essay topic will be about nuclear power. This question was sent to us by one of our students, an IELTS candidate, and I believe it may have been a former IELTS essay question recently as well. Welcome Phuong, hi Patek, hi Sarah. Nice to see our members joining in on this class. This is a members chat class, so to become a member of the channel, click the join button next to the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We will have a class coming up for subscribers also in a couple hours that will be a reading topic on tigers, so look out for that. And this class is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Those are the websites we use in these live classes. They contain all of our materials, our textbooks. So if you're enjoying these live classes, be sure to sign up for our premium IELTS course there. This is our website, aehelp.com. Click this big red button that's just above my head there. And it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It really does not cost a lot. It's very cheap, especially compared to the IELTS. So to get the best score possible to follow with these live classes, be sure to join us. We are an IDP, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, certified British Council agents. So you are in great hands with us. And for the general IELTS, visit us here. It's gieltshelp.com. And again, click that big red button. For those of you who watch these classes regularly, you know these websites are useful and we use them all the time. Welcome, Masala. Hi, James. Good to have you in here. I will get your help in writing this essay in just a moment. Let's hop back to our class sheet for the day. On the websites, you can use the code FULL9 to get a 10% discount. And you will see that in our most recent video release on the channel as well. You can also get our apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, and follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AE Help, GIELTS Help. That's where you can find our class schedules for the live classes, free vocabulary for the IELTS, some kind of fun videos as well. And if you still have questions, just send me an email. Email address, you can send an email to adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Either one of those emails, we will get your question and we can help you to understand IELTS, the English language, communication skills. So lots there for you. We are here to help. Your success is our success. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you in the class. All right, students, lots of classes this week. We've got task 2 and reading this morning for me. And then we have speaking part 2, speaking part 3 tomorrow. And we will have a light haul class also. So check that out. I'll put that into the chat. Light haul is a platform that's designed for live teaching on all subjects, not just IELTS, but computer programming, engineering, and lots more. So check that out. That's Light Haul, and it's free for you to join this. And again, check out the newest video on our channel as well. It's quite popular. There it is. All right. Harpreet, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. All right, let's take a look at this task 2 question. It's an interesting one, and it's definitely a bit of a provocative question, especially in the conflicting times that we are having in the world today. So I'm curious how this essay will look. Step 1, okay, writing section. So writing section is 1 hour. For some people in India, the writing section will be the first section nowadays. They're testing this out. But for most people, it's still the last section of the IELTS exam when you're sitting. So it goes listening, reading, writing. And your listening and reading takes about 2 hours. So you really have to muster all your energy and really collect your thoughts and focus in the writing section. I think it's the most challenging part of IELTS to get a good score. So even though a lot of candidates feel nervous about the speaking section, on average, the lowest scores tend to be in the writing section. And that's often just because people aren't taught standard essay writing rules, structure. And that's okay. So that's why I'm here, to help you with that. You have to understand that task 2 is a persuasive essay. Your goal is to create an argument to convince your reader. And it has a very clear structure and some very clear steps. So step 1 is to read the question. Let's do that. IELTS task 2 writing. Read with me, viewers, members. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Make sure to spend 40 minutes. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. The benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? That piece doesn't need to be there. That's from a previous question. Okay, so that's the question of the day. Interesting one. I'm sure you'll agree. It's on people's minds for sure over the last 100 years or so. Nuclear technology. So let's make sure we clearly understand what's going on here with this question. So step number 2 after reading, right? So step 1 is read the question carefully. And the reason I say carefully is because you just finished the listening and reading section, so you might be a little bit feeling like you're in a rush, especially after the reading section where you're kind of maybe rushing to read and finish the reading section. So here you have to really kind of slow down and read carefully. And then step 2 is to paraphrase. So step 2, using your own words, paraphrase the question accurately. It means include the same information and detail, but do not add or change information. Okay? So let's do this, right? Let's paraphrase. What's another way to say the threat? Sunantha, Harpreet, Joe, James, let's see who is listening. Sarah, what's another way to say threat? Well, lots of ways. I'm just going to keep it simple. When you're paraphrasing, it's a good idea to practice paraphrasing as simple as possible. Okay? Yeah, danger. There you go. Fwang and Maria both kind of thought about the same. What's another way to say nuclear weapons? So what's another way to say nuclear weapons? There's actually a couple of ways. that come to mind for me. First of all, try to think about a different way to say nuclear. Here, let me give you a hint. From my drawing, you should maybe get an idea if that makes sense. Maria says missile, but Maria, that doesn't include the concept of nuclear. Just keep thinking, Sarah. Visualize. Yeah, there you go, Harpreet. Atomic, right? Atomic bombs, exactly. Okay, so the danger of atomic missiles, for instance, right? Atomic missiles or bombs, because that's really what we're talking about here, right? And there's even another way. It's kind of a slang way. People say nukes. Okay. So the danger of nukes. If you are a gamer and you play video games, you might have come across that slang as well, right? And it would be okay to use that in the essay, the danger of nukes. Okay, so the threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. The danger of atomic bombs keeps, instead of world peace, world order, we could say, because in a sense that's what peace is. Okay. Nuclear power, yep, some of you said nuclear energy, sure. Or we could say atomic energy. Okay. Provides cheap and clean energy. Generates, right? Environmentally friendly and cost effective power instead of energy, right? Okay, so far so good. Yep. Kennel says, thanks, Adrian. What are you thanking me for, Kennel? Let me know. All right. Okay. So, and then the benefits of nuclear technology. Paraphrase this as well. So we can say the merits instead of benefits. I know a lot of you know these words because you're paraphrasing the word benefits a lot. The merits of atomic technology, we could say, because really we're talking about atomic technology at the same time. Far outweigh the disadvantages. Paraphrase that for me. Oh, Kennel, it was you that sent this question. Good. That's what you're thanking me for. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's one of the benefits of being a member of our channel, right, is that you can request these classes, which is great. Kennel, while everybody is thinking about how to paraphrase this part, and that's what I'm asking you to do, students, far outweigh the disadvantages. I want you to paraphrase that. While everybody's paraphrasing that, Kennel, can you answer this question for me? Was this on the IELTS exam? So where did you get this question from? Usually, I think students often get these questions from past IELTS exams. Okay, Maria says surpass. Masala says much greater than. Yeah. And Maria, surpass is okay, but you need that far. This is an important word here. The author here, or the person making this question, included this for a good reason. Far outweigh, and you're going to see that. And I like how Masala realized that, and Masala says much greater than. Okay, Fuang, same thing. You're missing this part, the far outweigh. So Fuang and Maria and Patek, you're basically just saying outweigh without the far outweigh. Okay, The merits of atomic technology are much greater than. The negatives, or yeah, we can say negatives because the question says disadvantages, right? This word is very important here, students, because it's an extreme, okay? Always pay attention to extremes. Why am I telling you that? So always pay extra attention when the task 2 question or speaking questions include extremes or superlatives. Extremes like far, much, very, okay, or superlatives like best, greatest, okay, fastest. Those are superlatives. Why? Why am I telling you to be extra careful and pay extra attention when you have this kind of a far outweigh the disadvantages, or as we paraphrase here, much greater than the negatives? Why am I telling you to pay extra attention and be really careful when you see these kinds of extremes or superlatives? Okay, Kendall, you found it on a website and found it to be complicated. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good one. I'm not sure if IELTS would ask one this provocative, but possibly on the academic. Yeah. Sarah says because it will affect the answer. How will it affect the answer, Sarah? Okay. Because it's usually not true, okay? Okay, now, usually, in rare cases it can be, but it's usually not true, okay? So when you see an extreme, it's usually not true, okay? All right, that's why. Okay, so here now we have the paraphrase, and let's finish it. Okay, here's the original, students. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. The benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Here we go. The danger of atomic bombs or nukes keeps world order. Atomic energy generates environmentally friendly and cost-effective power. The merits of atomic technology are much greater than the negatives. To what degree are you in line with this statement? All right, so now we have a clear idea of what we're being asked. So now we want to figure out the answer, right? And that's our third step here. So step 3 is to think critically about the topic and the controlling idea. So identify the topic and controlling idea, okay? And then step 4 is think critically about the topic and controlling idea. What's the topic here, students? So what are we talking about? It should be pretty easy. So the topic here, Kennel, is pretty easy. Okay, nuclear power. Yeah, It's not just nuclear weapon, Sarah, it's nuclear power. Nuclear weapon is a type of weapon using nuclear power. So we can say nuclear technology. Whether that's nuclear power or a nuclear weapon, or nuclear technology is used for imaging as well, in medicine, for example. But we won't get into that, so be careful not to go off topic. But we definitely use nuclear technology in not just weaponry and energy production, but in other parts of society as well. So nuclear power, controlling idea. Okay, so the controlling idea is the benefits of nuclear tech is far greater than the disadvantages. Okay, all right. So what is nuclear power? Okay. Sarah, it's possible. It's definitely possible that you could get a question like this in the IELTS exam. Absolutely. Yeah. You could definitely see this, especially in the academic version, but you could even see it in the general version because it's a hot topic in society. And it's definitely one of the most important parts of modern knowledge in the last 100 years. So I think maybe all people or almost all people have some thoughts and ideas around nuclear energy and power. So yes. Okay. So what is nuclear power, or what is nuclear technology? Okay. All right. So it is knowledge about using atoms to create power and science. Okay. How do we use nuclear power? All right, let's see if anybody knows. So Fong says it's a kind of unlimited technology. Okay, so how do we use it? How does it generate it? Just give me your thoughts. You don't have to be a scientist, okay? So some students are probably like, well, I'm not a nuclear physicist, so what do you expect from me, Adrian? What does IELTS want me to do here? That's fine, but I do think that most of you, if not all of you, do have a basic idea of how nuclear power is made, or how nuclear... Okay, so Amal says it's fusion. It's fission, right? Yeah. Kendall says it's fission, reaction of atoms. Yeah, so Harpreet says it's a reaction. It is a reaction of atoms, nuclear fission. We don't have fusion technology yet. We have nuclear fission technology as far as I know. And it comes from splitting atoms, right? How do we do it? Using hydrogen, uranium. Okay. So is anybody unfamiliar with this? So when I write this up here, so reaction of atoms, nuclear fission, splitting atoms, using hydrogen, uranium. Any information new here? So is anybody confused by this information? Okay, so when we write this, how do we use nuclear power? Okay. And then, of course, the why question, right? So why do we have nuclear power. And that would be to generate incredible amounts of energy, right? Masala says neutron bombarding. Yeah, maybe that's a bit unfamiliar for me, but it sounds like nobody is confused when we talk about these. Okay, so we're on the right track. Now, we're talking about the benefits or merits. So this is the controlling idea. The merits or benefits are far more than the negatives. Okay. Now, of course, we could write this essay in many ways, but for the IELTS, your goal is always to find the simplest route. Keep that in mind. So your goal in IELTS writing is to find the simplest path to a high band score. And this may not be your true opinion. In task 2. Let me show you what I mean by that, members. So when you decide for a question like this, when you decide your argument, make sure to think about all of the information that you know and visualize the content. Okay. So here, the question includes this concept of nuclear weapons. Okay. In the question here, it says nuclear weapons maintain world peace. Here we go, students. So get into my mind. This is a short segment of get into Adrian's mind. And I'm trying to, by this, give you a way to think critically. Of course, visualization is critical thinking. Have we used nuclear weapons in the last 100 years for mass destruction and the killing of tens of thousands of people? And if yes, where? Your answer, of course, here, and I hope everybody knows this part of world history. Yes, in World War II, the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, that's right, Kennel. Okay, have we caused war in the last 50 years because of nuclear weapons or nuclear power? Yes. Invaded Iraq because of threat of weapons. So although we think it keeps world peace, let's not forget that countries go and fight wars in other countries because they think they have weapons of mass destruction, or they use that as a reason to do it. So the US definitely did invade Iraq, right? Because of nuclear weapons. All right. Nuclear energy. The question says that nuclear energy provides cheap and clean energy. Okay. I don't know much about the cheap. I don't honestly know the cost of nuclear energy compared to other sources, but let's talk about the clean energy, right? Let's talk about what we do know. Has nuclear energy or the production of nuclear energy caused environmental disaster in the last 50 years? So Maria says it's a clean energy, it's non-carbon emission. Yeah, okay. Has it caused, have we seen nuclear energy cause environmental damage in the last 50 to 100 years? Kennel says yes, 2011 Japan, and I'm sure a lot of you will still remember the name of the place where the disaster happened. Kennel says Chernobyl. Yes. Chernobyl, Ukraine, and most recently Fukushima. That's right. So let me ask you this question again then. The benefits of nuclear energy far outweigh the negatives. Is it true? Would you say that, you know, for the IELTS exam and thinking about the examples and explanations, what's the easiest thesis statement? Okay, so what is the easiest thesis statement for the essay? And for those of you watching, the thesis statement is the argument, the sentence that is your argument. Okay. Yeah, so Sarah says it's not true. Masala says it's not true. And you can't think about the possible future, right? That would be a very difficult essay to write. So it would be very, very hard to say that, well, once humans get control of nuclear energy and we develop nuclear fusion, then it will be, well, we don't know that. Stick to the facts, stick to what we know, okay? So don't write about predicting the future and the potentials of nuclear energy once we do have control. Right now, if we look at the last 100 years of nuclear power, it definitely does not seem like nuclear energy is far better than not, right? Especially when you remember that far outweigh. So even if somebody wanted to argue that, well, they outweigh the negatives, I would definitely question this far outweigh. Does everybody see now why that word far is so important? Okay. So it's not necessarily that it doesn't outweigh, but it definitely doesn't far outweigh, right? So write your thesis statement, students. Okay, I'm going to say the same. So yeah, so that is my thesis statement for a Band 9 essay. Although nuclear technology does have merits, these certainly do not greatly surpass the disadvantages because atomic power has led to mass destruction and environmental damage. Okay? So there's my thesis statement. That's my argument. That's coming at the end of my introductory paragraph. Now, introductory paragraph, as many of you know, must have a hook, must have a background, and must have a thesis. Okay? So let's catch the reader's attention with a simple statement. Let's discuss what we are actually writing about, and then let's include the thesis. Kennel writes this for the thesis. I believe that despite of solution to the biggest problem of mankind. Ooh, too much information there, Kennel. So I believe that despite energy generation, let's take all that out. Solution of the biggest problem of mankind, Kennel. You don't want to include that because that's off topic. We're not really discussing the biggest problem of mankind. The biggest problem of mankind, that's another essay. That could be energy production. That could be food resources. That could be climate change. That could be population boom. That could be alien threat. We don't know what the biggest problem is. So let's not include that, Kennel. Careful. Okay, I believe that despite superior energy generation, it holds the tremendous power of destruction that can be a threat to all life forms. Where's your topic, Kennel? You need your topic. Nuclear power holds the ability of destruction that can be a threat to all life forms, okay? It's a tough thesis, so even though now it reads like a thesis, Kennel, it's a tough one. So, Kennel, you really have to be careful with your thesis statement. Make sure your topic is clear. Make sure you're not including other ideas. If you do that, the essay won't make that much sense, okay? And you're going off topic. It's going to be difficult for the examiner to give you a good band score, okay? All right. Patek, let's see what you have. Thesis statements are very important. Students, do not even write the essay if you don't have a good thesis statement. Until you have a good thesis statement, don't write the essay, okay? Because you won't have a good essay. You need to have a good thesis statement. If you're not sure, check it with your teacher. Check it with another student, okay? So Patek writes, although nuclear power has some benefits for world order, I believe its deficits are much greater. It poses a threat for human civilization or for civilization and nature. Right? So, Patek, include your clear points. You need to include the clear point 1 and point 2 that you will discuss in your essay. Okay? So your thesis needs to have those. Okay? Now this thesis statement, Patek, is good. Although nuclear power has some benefits for world order, I believe its deficits are much greater. It poses a threat to civilization and nature. All right, Masala, let's take a look at your thesis. Once you have a good thesis, you can write a good essay. If you don't have a good thesis, you cannot write a good essay. So you have to have a good thesis. Masala says there are also benefits of atomic technology, but these are not much greater than disadvantages, as nuclear power has a bad impact on nations' destruction and the environment. Masala, not bad. Let's make it a bit more concise and natural. Even though there are. Instead of there are also, we don't start a sentence that way, Masala, because the also is like also what. Even though there are benefits of atomic, we don't need a big A there, just a small a. Even though there are benefits of atomic technology, and then we don't need the second negative, right? These are not much greater than negatives benefits, deficits, usually the opposite, deficits. As, not but as nuclear power has bad impact on nations, and let's make that a plural possessive, Masala. So nations has a bad impact on nations, destruction, not bad impact on the destruction, but bad impact on nations, as well as the environment. Now you have a good thesis. So even if you have a good idea in the thesis, like what you have here, Masala, make sure that you correct the grammar. Your thesis should always have very good, clear, clean grammar. When you are in your IELTS, make sure that you spend an extra few seconds, okay? Spend a bit more time on your thesis statement than any other sentence in your essay. Check to make sure it is coherent, accurate, has 2 clear points, and no grammatical mistakes. Okay? It's the most important part of your essay, and if the thesis is clean and clear, your whole essay will make a bit more sense than if it's not. Okay? So, it's very important that you do that, all right? A little bit of extra time there, all right? Okay, so let's get into it. Introductory paragraph, students. It has a hook, background, thesis. I'm going to pick up speed here a little bit, but I want you to do this with me, viewers. So the hook is a sentence that's simple and includes the topic. Here it's nuclear power, nuclear technology, catches the reader's attention. There's my hook. This hopefully will get my reader's attention, and it includes the topic here. Arguably, nuclear technology is one of the greatest innovations of modern man. Right? And by man, it includes, of course, women and children and everybody. So arguably, nuclear technology is one of the greatest innovations of modern man. All right, there's my background. I'm going to keep my background fairly simple here. Okay, you shouldn't overdo the background here. So it's just a definition here. Okay, so arguably, nuclear technology is one of the greatest innovations of modern man. The splitting of the atom has been used for both weapons of mass destruction and for the creation of massive amounts of energy. All right, now I'm just going to take my thesis statement and I'm going to plop it in at the end of, just bloop, plop it in at the end of my introduction. Okay, and this is your Band 9 introduction. Let's read it, let's review it. Read with me. Arguably, nuclear technology is one of the greatest innovations of modern man. The splitting of the atom has been used for both weapons of mass destruction and for the creation of massive amounts of electricity. Although nuclear technology does have merits, these certainly do not greatly surpass the disadvantages, because atomic power has led to death, and environmental damage. I don't want to use mass destruction again because I have it here. So I'm being careful to paraphrase this, okay? And here I have the word death, but that's just one noun. And here I have the word damage, but I have an adjective, environmental damage, right? For my second point. So I don't want to use just death, but something like significant. Okay. And if I don't have the perfect adjective for that yet, it doesn't matter. I can think about that as I write my body paragraph and come back to it later. As long as I remember that it's not perfect yet. So it has led to significant death and environmental damage. It does work. It works well. Okay. All right. So now let's get into body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1 will have the topic sentence. We'll have an explanation. We'll have an example. And we'll have a connecting sentence. Okay. So now, here's a question. Members, because you're in the chat here. How should I start this body paragraph 1? And I'm going to give you a hint here. Keep in mind the original question. So the original question way up here, I'm going to save this piece for you. By the way, I'm going to start posting these task 2 essays in our channel ASAP as soon as possible, so you can see the full essays. Okay, so here it says the threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. Okay, so how should I start this body paragraph 1? And notice this piece here again. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Okay, what's a good way to start this body paragraph 1? Okay, give me an idea here. And I'm giving you a hint. We've talked about this in past classes. So you should have an idea. This is where we are going to use what's called argument counter argument. Okay? So in this essay, for this question, it is a good idea, or it's a good strategy to structure the body paragraph as argument, counter argument. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. While it is true that some countries refrain from engaging in war due to the threat of nuclear missiles, atomic technology has been used to take thousands of lives and start wars over the past century. Okay? All right, so that's my topic sentence. So notice that here's the argument. While it is true that countries refrain from engaging in war due to the threat of nuclear missiles, so here's the argument. And here's the counter argument. Atomic technology has been used to take thousands of lives and start wars over the past century. Counter argument. Okay. So, and then, of course, we include our explanation. So here, our explanations and our examples are the same. Okay, the examples are the explanations in this case. Okay. So is it clear how I'm using this argument, counter argument? The argument is the argument given by the question. The counter argument is my counter argument. So this type of question, and I'm happy that Kennel, you submitted this question, because last week somebody was asking me about when should we use this argument, counter argument type situation. And this is a perfect example for that. Okay, so this is a perfect case where you can use this argument, counter argument. Everybody's good? You're clear on what I mean by that? Okay, so sadly, many people lost their lives, or many Japanese, at the end of World War II, when the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. More recently, the US attacked Iraq because of the threat of weapons of mass destruction. Okay. So Fong says, okay, got it. Argument, counter argument. Clear. Okay. Now, here's the concluding sentence. Therefore, it is obvious that nuclear weapons do not always maintain order or maintain peace and keep people safe. Okay, so that would be my body paragraph 1. Let's review it. While it is true that some countries refrain means stop from doing. Okay. Refrain from engaging. Engaging means doing or starting in war due to the threat of nuclear missiles. atomic technology has been used to take thousands of lives and start wars over the past century. That's my counter argument. Sadly, many Japanese lost their lives at the end of World War II when the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. More recently, the US attacked Iraq because of the threat of weapons of mass destruction. Therefore, it is obvious that nuclear weapons do not always maintain peace and keep people safe. Okay, next body paragraph. Body 2, environmental damage. Right? So cheap, clean energy, that's what we're going to discuss here. Now, one of the reasons I was moving a little bit faster here, members, is because I want to see your argument, counter-argument, topic, sentence. So I gave you the last one kind of, but now I want you to give me the topic sentence. And this topic sentence is the argument, counter-argument type. Okay? And then the explanation and example. Okay, your turn to shine, members. So give me the topic sentence for this one. Okay, topic sentence for this one. Give me a nice topic sentence. Think about it. Really visualize. What kind of energy are we comparing nuclear energy to? So what are the other types of energy, and why would we even call it a clean energy? Sarah, Alfred, Sanantha, Patek, Kennel, Domenico. I want to see your topic sentence here using the argument, counter-argument. Of course, using some kind of conjunction of opposition. So, although, even though, while, conversely, opposite to, however. Okay, you can use all of those. All right. So, give me a sentence with a counter argument. All right, Sarah, not nonetheless atomic power is cheap. However, students never use double negatives. So never use nonetheless together with however. Just one of those, Sarah. Try to correct it. Okay, correct the sentence. Correct the sentence without me correcting it. Domenico, I would not start this with on the other hand, because you're not actually showing an opposite here. Okay, so not like that. You have to give me the full sentence, Domenico, for it to make sense. But I probably wouldn't start with this with on the other hand. In fact, Domenico, I would actually start with this with in addition. Okay. This is going to be a little bit interesting for you. I'm sure you're going to learn a very important piece here. Okay, Patek says, although there is belief that nuclear power is beneficial technology for the environment, there are many more beneficial ones, such as solar energy. No, Patek, you're going off topic. We're not talking about solar energy. Okay. Fwang says, instead of bringing a lot of benefits such as cheap, clean energy for the environment, but the nuclear weapons may lead to a variety of natural damage. Fwang, you don't have the argument. You have two counter arguments. It doesn't make sense, Fwang. You have to rewrite it. Uh-oh. I'm sensing trouble here with the argument, counter argument. It seems like we need to practice this a little bit more. Yeah, so Sarah says, however, atomic power is cheap power, it still damages the environment. It's still off, Sarah. Grammatically, it's still off. Content-wise, it's still a little bit off. But keep trying. So you're getting 2 thumbs up from me for trying. Masala says, it is widely believed that the danger of atomic bombs which put great effect on countries to involve war. In addition, nuclear power has been made to take whole generations. Masala, long and confusing. Long and confusing. Okay, body paragraph 2. In addition. In addition, nuclear reactors have generated massive amounts of energy for public use, but this has also led to some of the greatest natural disasters of the 20th and 21st centuries. Okay, that's my topic sentence. All right, now students, I don't expect you to come up with this exact sentence, okay? But you should start to work towards this kind of a goal. I don't have this essay. I'm making this essay up just like you as I'm writing. So yes, you can do it. You can do it just like me. And it's not just about English. It's also about the way you think, the way you're using your mind. So this is an additive. Okay, students, this is in addition here because I'm adding this information to this one here. So it's true that some countries stop engaging in war. In addition, it's true that nuclear reactors have generated massive amounts of energy for public use, right? Okay, so that's the argument. And then this is the counter argument. All right. So in addition, nuclear reactors, because what are they? They're nuclear reactors. They're nuclear power plants, right? So think about the specific. Don't just think of nuclear technology. Be more specific if you can be. That's what you do in body paragraphs. You give more details, right? So Sarah says, when should we use this kind of writing? Well, exactly in this case where, look, Sarah, okay, Sarah says, when should we use this kind of writing? Sarah, I'll tell you exactly when. Notice in this question, and this is a specific type of question, they give you the argument. So this is the original question, IELTS Task 2 writing. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Argument 1. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. Argument point 2. The benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. So see, Sarah, how in this question, you're given the first argument and the second argument, and then you're asked if you agree with it or disagree with it. So you use the argument, counter-argument type structure with essay questions where you're given the argument and you do not agree with it, okay? Does that make sense? So use the argument, counter argument, type persuasive essay when you are given the arguments but you do not agree with them. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, hopefully it does. All right. So here we have our topic sentence now. In addition, nuclear reactors have generated massive amounts of energy for public use, but this has also led to some of the greatest natural disasters of the 20th and 21st centuries. All right, explanation plus example. The nuclear power plant, the Chernobyl power plant meltdown in the 1980s not only killed many people, but also made an entire region of a country radioactive and uninhabitable for decades. More recently, the power plant failure in Fukushima, Japan, caused extensive damage to both land and ocean flora and fauna. Flora means plant life. Fauna means animal life. Chernobyl. So there we go. The Chernobyl power plant meltdown in the 1980s not only killed many people, but also made an entire region of a country radioactive and uninhabitable for decades. More recently, the power plant failure in Fukushima, Japan, caused extensive damage to both land and ocean flora and fauna. Okay. These incidences, so here's my concluding sentence. Okay, so these incidences clearly show that atomic energy has a potential to be extremely damaging to nature. Okay? All right, now let's review this body paragraph. So in addition, nuclear reactors have generated massive amounts of energy for public use, but this has also led to some of the greatest natural disasters of the 20th and 21st centuries. The Chernobyl power plant meltdown in the 1980s. When a power plant fails, we call it a meltdown because it literally melts. Okay, not only killed many people, but also made an entire region of a country radioactive and uninhabitable for decades. More recently, the power plant failure in Fukushima, Japan, caused extensive damage to both land and ocean flora and fauna. These incidents clearly show that atomic energy has the potential to be extremely damaging to nature. All right, conclusion time. Conclusion has your points restated, argument strengthened, and a take-home message. Okay, so that's what a great conclusion should have. Your points restated and they should be paraphrased. So it kind of starts like this. In conclusion, while nuclear power does have benefits, it may also lead to death and destruction. Okay, those are my points restated. I don't need to go into more details there because they're clearly explained in my body paragraphs. Now, my argument strengthened. Okay, therefore, I do not agree that its merits far outweigh its disadvantages. Because there are multiple cases of war and pollution due to atomic technology. All right. And now my take-home message. Therefore, humanity must be vigilant to control and use nuclear power in a safe and beneficial way. Right? That's my take-home message. Really, it's up to us as humans, right? At the end of the day, we are the ones making the weapons. So if we don't make weapons with nuclear technology, then we don't have that danger. If we pay more attention to how we engineer nuclear power plants, how we take care of them, if we work together as a united world and we help each other maintain these nuclear reactors and power plants, make sure they're up to date and they're the most recent, using all of our brains and minds, then yes, absolutely. But that's if we had more time, if we were writing this essay for the UN or for master's PhD thesis, we could get into that a little bit more. But for now, this is an IELTS essay, so I want to keep it simple and to the point, okay? Now, I'm going to read this again. In conclusion, while nuclear power does have benefits, it may also lead to death and destruction. Therefore, I do not agree that its merits far outweigh its disadvantages because there are multiple cases of war and pollution due to atomic technology. Therefore, humanity must be vigilant, must work hard to control and use nuclear power in a safe and beneficial way. Okay, it's our decisions. So this is your Band 9 essay to this question. And when you are at home and when you are practicing, make sure to read the original question and reread your whole essay. You might not have time for that in the IELTS exam, but at home, this is a very important step. Okay, so at home, once you have finished your essay, be sure to reread the question and your response. Okay? Here we go. So read with me, everyone. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. The benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? All of our planning, and then the essay. Introduction. Arguably, nuclear technology is one of the greatest innovations of modern man. The splitting of the atom has been used for both weapons of mass destruction and for the creation of massive amounts of electricity. Although nuclear technology does have merits, these certainly do not greatly surpass the disadvantages because atomic power has led to significant death and environmental damage. Body 1. While it is true that some countries refrain from engaging in war due to the threat of nuclear missiles, atomic technology has been used to take thousands of lives and start wars over the past century. Sadly, many Japanese lost their lives at the end of World War II when the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. More recently, the US attacked Iraq because of the threat of weapons of mass destruction. Therefore, it is obvious that nuclear weapons do not always maintain peace and keep people safe. In addition, nuclear reactors have generated massive amounts of energy for public use. But this has also led to some of the greatest natural disasters of the 20th and 21st centuries. The Chernobyl power plant meltdown in the 1980s not only killed many people, but also made an entire region of a country radioactive and uninhabitable for decades. More recently, the power plant failure in Fukushima, Japan, caused extensive damage to both land and ocean flora and fauna. These incidents clearly show that atomic energy has the potential to be extremely damaging to nature. In conclusion, while nuclear power does have benefits, it may also lead to death and destruction. Therefore, I do not agree that its merits far outweigh its disadvantages because there are multiple cases of war and pollution due to atomic technology. Therefore, humanity must be vigilant to control and use nuclear power in a safe and beneficial way. That's your essay, okay? And that will get you a band 9. And yes, you can. You can get to this level through lots of hard work and practice, students. Remember that on our websites, you can submit your essays for marking and evaluation. And you can send us your essay for a free estimate of your score. You can send your essay here to adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com and we'll give you a free score estimate. All right, members? Good work in the class. I hope that you got a bit of an idea, students, on this argument, counter-argument concept. Any questions at this point, members? So anybody still not clear on some of this, or any questions about the essay or vocabulary? Again, for everybody watching, make sure you join us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. That's the websites we use for these classes. That's where you can find a lot of task 2 essay examples in our premium package, a lot of explanations. This is our general IELTS website here at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button that's just right above my head. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. For academic IELTS, it's this one right here. Again, click that big red button. We are an IELTS test registration center, certified agents. We're world leaders when it comes to IELTS training. We're British Council partners. I'm a British Council agent, so you're in good hands. Okay, and I see that the chat is a little bit quiet here, so Domenico says, I'm thoroughly enjoying the premium package. Domenico, that's great feedback. Thank you for letting me know. If you have ideas on how to improve it, let us know. Send us an email. We always want to improve. James says, thanks, Adrian. Another sample about a tough topic, but I'm glad you're learning, James, and I'm sure you're picking up a lot of good vocabulary as well. Okay, and don't forget, students, to use that discount code for that 10%. Full 9 was the discount code to get that 10% off the website there. So make sure to use that. Okay. All right. Sunantha says, can I send you my writing without the topic? Yes, you can, Sunantha. All you have to do is just email the topic. If you're paying for the editing, then just email the topic and the question, so you don't pay for that. You only pay for the words of the essay, okay? But yes, you can. And remember too, Sunantha and members, just like Kennel, you can request class topics, okay? All right, students. So I will be back in about 40 minutes with a new reading passage for all of you. So come back. Until then, you can check out ahelp.com, glshelp.com. And then come back in 40 minutes. That will be a subscribers chat class. So if you're not a member but a subscriber, you can join the chat. If you're watching right now, it's a great time to subscribe to the channel, get access to all of our materials, okay? You're very welcome, Patek. Great work, members. Keep it up. Keep practicing. Writing is super fun when you're good at it, so keep doing it, okay? It's a great skill to have. All right, everybody. That's it for me for now. Have a good short break. Stretch your legs. Grab a glass of water or a tea. And I'll see you back here shortly. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now, and I will be back soon with another lesson. Goodbye.